You know I'm always game for some elf versus elf action, and today we've got some more courtesy of Rider Rohan, but no high elves in sight. Instead, he's going with the wood elves here. Sisters of Twilight leading the way. We've got some dryads up front, and with some war dancers in the backline rather, spear dancers with two of them on the flanks, with sword dancers in the center, four of them, and then some Wild Riders in the back. We've got one unit of Way Watchers as well for a little bit of skirmish potential. As for the Dark Elves, led by Joy Boy here, also going to have a Supreme Sorceress of Dark Magic instead of the Dragon, cheaping out to go for a Dark Pegasus. Got some Dread Spears and Corsairs with a couple of Dark Shards with shields here. Cold One Knights protecting the back, and Scourge Runner Chariot here. To act as mobile skirmish, a couple of Dark Riders in Vanguard as well. So let's get things rolling and see how these elves get on. Oh yeah, Bloodrack Medusa, Regiment of Renown, also here in the center. The Siren of the Red Ruin, and I haven't seen a ton of Medusa games, but in the limited games I have seen of the Medusa, it seems that she's much better, and given how cheap she is, can be very cost-effective in a number of different build types, and I don't know, I might even go double Medusa in a lot of builds right now. Remains to be seen, but as the Wood Elves approach here, their advance is going to be broken up somewhat. Medusa getting some fire in, a little bit of chill wind there, a little bit of charges from the chariots, and some shots from them as well, although they probably want to conserve the ammunition, try and shoot at these Wild Riders if possible. But the Dryads will be able to sustain this assault, this ranged assault, and get in here, start to do some damage in the front line. Sisters of Twilight also unleashing their scatter shot, anti-infantry mode, poisoning the Dark Elves front line. And let's see, War Dancers actually missed their charge there, unfortunately. Looks like these Wild Riders catch the Dread Spears in a little bit of a weird position. I don't know if they were necessarily braced there, but they should be able to overrun and get into the back line, get in those ranged units. Another chill wind there. War Dancers are doing okay. They're not having the worst time in the world, but generally having a little bit of a painful time trading. The War Dancers kind of bait and switch here on this flank. Beautifully done, getting those Cold One Knights to engage, and the Wild Riders again deployed to wherever the looks like they can break through the Dread Spears, but the opposite, no, actually it looks like they came back to collapse these Dread Spears, and now together with the Spear Dancers moving on into the back line. Sisters of Twilight pursuing the Supreme Sorceress, who pops Opal Amulet to try and shrug off some of that damage. The Way Watchers are trying to draw beat, I believe, on the Supreme Sorceress. They were shooting at the Siren of the Red Ruin temporarily. Arguably should stay focused to try and finish that off, rather than going for the Lord with the Sisters of Twilight in such close range. But Way Watchers themselves have other issues to deal with as Dark Riders appear from the forest. I'm going to bulldoze those protecting Dryads and try and get after the Way Watchers themselves. To see the Wild Riders both immediately respond. Great micro from Rider Rohan to very quickly get his mobile units into position to protect and just crush those Dark Riders in a field engagement there. That being said, this battlefield is getting all strung out and chaotic, which is largely going to favor the Wood Elves due to their more mobile, damage-focused melee infantry. They're going to be able to hopefully chase down some of these ranged units, at least from Rider Rohan's perspective. Whereas Scourge Chariot's still online in the back line. We've got the Bloodrack Medusa as well, so a number of good, decent value targets to try and go after potentially. But Way Watchers, despite the fact escaping some Dark Riders, more Dark Riders pile in, sort of disrupt them momentarily, do some damage to them. We've even got the Cold One Knights now in that engagement, so looking potentially pretty rough. We'll see if some Spear Dancers perhaps peel back to try and save that engagement. But while I was focusing on that, ooh, the Bloodrack Medusa and the Scourge Runner Chariot, some devastating damage into the Sisters of Twilight, and they are now going to get routed off, if not just straight up finished off by the Dark Elves here, which is going to put a big dent in the Wood Elves' leadership. But situationally, though, on the battlefield, they are prevailing largely in other fights. They're routing off these Dark Riders, yes, losing out some War Dancers, Way Watchers getting routed temporarily, although they're likely to come back from rout, we'll see. The Dread Spears are not going to chase them down, but the Medusa actually helps finish off the Sisters of Twilight there. Very cost-effective and impressive performance by the Siren of the Red Ruin. That said, there's plenty of mobile units that could potentially chase it down for the Wood Elves, and we do see some Dark Riders already closing the gap. An ineffective Chill Wind is not going to frostbite them enough. Actually on some other units there, but the Siren of the Red Ruin does have some ability to defend itself with that nice AoE. As a Regiment of Renown ability, the Whale of Malice actually does some pretty good damage. Yeah, 7 seconds of 180 damage per second. It's decent. It's not crazy. It's like a little more than 1,000 damage, right? Something like that. I don't know. I can't math today. Anyway, Cold One Knight's going to be rear charging, but the Medusa tries to charge in the Way Watcher. Is going to take some shots in the face on the approach, and even once engaged in melee, is not necessarily fully safe, but yeah, it looks like does manage to pull their swords out, get them in a surround, so very cost-effective use there. But a little bit of healing in the center from the Branch Wraith, who I haven't really highlighted too much, but yeah, just has Earthblood, been purely here as a healer. No damage at all, but it's just been doing a good job of keeping some high-value units alive. Got some Spear Dancers, Sword Dancers, all very useful and valuable in this late game. Way Watchers as well. Nice Chillwind, though. That's been paying some dividends for the Dark Elf player here. Although with the Siren of the Red Ruin routing, that is going to cascade into almost immediate army losses. So just slowly getting ground down in those mobile engagements. Like I said, the mobility of the Wood Elves infantry, their speed of the War Dancers and other units here, even the Dryads, very good speed as well. Able to chase down, finish off a lot of those tattered Dark Elf units, and never able to really regain their formation. It's one reason why I'm not the biggest fan of infantry skirmishers in this matchup. Like, Dark Shards are a pretty big gamble. I think your money's much better spent on something mobile that can defend itself, or that can defend itself, rather, or both, preferably. The Scourge Runner Chariot's good in melee and great range attacks. The Black Ark Corsairs have some armor and decent melee stats to be able to fight in melee if they need to, so I'd probably cut these two. You don't really need the armor piercing either. So I'd maybe take something else with them. But other than that, Joy Boy's build's fairly solid. I definitely like where the Medusa is at. Feels really solid right now, better than they've ever been before, certainly. And I definitely would be taking them if I was playing Dark Elves on a regular basis these days, but I'm not. So there it is. Rider Rohan showing his versatility and not just playing High Elves, but also playing Wood Elves. Way Watchers get some mad value. Wild Riders get a rare, really nice performance as well, and their kind of counterpunch and flanking role, some nice rear charges, and they honestly just all over the place. Rider Rohan living up to his name with his cavalry micro there. Of course, the Sword Dancers, Spear Dancers also contribute some nice value as well, so just overall, well done by the Wood Elves, and Joy Boy manages to fight back hard, but not quite enough at the end of the day. So there it is. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.